Today we're going to be basically taking the level progression that we were working on. So just as a reminder for a before and after kind of thing, right? If we go into here, this is our level progression right now. It's kind of gross to look at. And then by the end, we're going to center it and just make it look a lot better. Before I get to that though, I do want to take a quick little detour real quick. And I was talking about basically changing the way we handled key pressing to basically use macros for the keys, because we have a lot of like duplicates for like our case statements. So like for example, if we go into here, right, these keys are always the same and we use them every single time. So I'm actually going to add something basically which is going to define these cases, and we're just going to change this format. So I'm going to make it src, let's say key macros header file, or touch, sorry. Right? And now we go to key macros, and I already just did this beforehand just so it's a lot easier. So basically we have our constants, and let's make sure constants is right. We have the key escape, so that's why we have to include it. And so basically what this is going to do is wherever we put case up keys, it's basically just going to put this code into our code. So let's actually do that real quick. So just to show you, right, these are going to be we're going to get rid of those. And then what we'll do, these would be the case Q keys. And there we go. Now we can do the, for example, this was case down keys, and we'll do it like that. And just before we keep going, I'm just going to make it just to make sure it's working. So now we'll run the game. And you can see if I press escape for 1 second, it will stop. And then the case down keys were obviously working. So now let's do case up. In terms of best practices, I'm going to assume this is probably bad practice because it just feels a little wonky, but it also just makes our code a lot cleaner. And if we were at all interested in actually changing our code to be to like support the ability for players to like hotkey or change the keys, this would not work at all. But in our case, it just makes the case, like the actual code we're using, a little bit easier to read, I feel like. So case left keys, and then we'll do the down keys. Right. It definitely makes the overall code shorter, but I don't know if it makes it easier to read. Oh wait, what did I do? Oh, it's I get it, sorry. Case Q keys. Okay, so I did the main. Did I do instructions? CPP? I don't think I did. Oh no, it's right there. So in this case, we only allow these. I guess if we really want to be like better about this, right, we should probably do like the case select keys, and then we don't need that, sorry, return menu, and then yeah, and then the default is return this. Then we can get rid of that, and that's a little cleaner. Okay, so I did the game, I did the menu, and now I need to do the level progression. So these guys, pretty easy. Again, case Q. This was, what was this again? Case up. Easy enough. Then we do case down keys, case select, and we still need that bracket, right? And then that's it. that is it. So now just one more test, just to make sure we're all okay. We can just play, still working exactly as intended. We'll go back, instructions still working, exit still working. Now we'll check the gameplay real quick, still working. Let's check level 1. So left, right, down, everything is still working, and our Vim bindings are also still working. Cool. So now that that's done, what we're going to do is we're actually going to get into making the level progression a lot better. So let's get into that. I'm going to close a bunch of tabs just so this is a little easier to navigate, right? And so right now we have our selected index, and I'm also going to add one more, and I'm going to change this to an int, by the way, because we're actually going to be changing the way we navigate through the level selection. So I'm going to add this max level beaten, and I'm going to equal it to 1. No, I'm going to equal it to 0, sorry. And we're actually not going to do anything with this other than use it when we're showing off the level progression. But we're not going to be setting it either when a player beats the game or anything like that, or beats a level in the game in this case. All right. So now what we can do is, actually I want to do one other thing. So that's done. Let's go to main. And I'm going to actually add a few constants. So just to speed this up for everybody, let me do this first. Oops. Okay, so these aren't defined, but I'm basically what this is it's going to be if a level is unlocked and not highlighted, it will show up as green with a black background. If a color is unlocked and highlighted, it will be black with a green background. And if it's locked, and locked is based off of this right here. So if the player has beaten, for example, level 0, right, then they'll be able to play level 1. But the player won't be able to play level 2. So this is basically showing the player what they can play and what they can't play. So now let's actually go into the constants file, and there's no reason just to do a bunch of retyping. So there it is, right? It's just 3, 4, 5, 6, just constants. All right, cool. So there's that. And now we're going to get into the actual level progression. So this will be, we'll do it in parts, I think. And in the first part, we're just going to do the display. And then what we're going to be doing is we're going to be like displaying levels in a line based off of these right here, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, right? And then what we'll do is once it passes a certain number of levels, we'll wrap down to the next, and that will also change the way our arrow keys have to behave. But we'll get to that when we get to it. So let's start working. So we're going to actually get rid of these, and we're going to replace it with these, right? And hopefully these are like pretty simple, right? We're just doing the color pair, and that's it. Okay. So what I want to do next is I want to actually start centering everything, because we don't have that. Max X, max Y, right? We've done this a bunch of times. Max Y, X, and then we pass it in the standard screen, right? Max Y, max X, and that's it for that. I missed an X. Did I? Oh, max YX, sorry. There we go. All right, and now we're gonna change how this is printed. We're gonna do Y, 18, max, X, and then we're gonna do minus 17. I'll explain why in a second. And I'm missing that. The Y for, oh, this is, oh, that's what I want to do, sorry. Int Y is equal to max Y divided by 6. So that's just putting it towards the top, but not exactly the top. Okay, so max 17, because if you look at this, you can see right here, it says 18, but I also have this right here. So if I'm a little bit better, right here, you can see it's 17 characters. So that's why 17. So 17 is the length of level progression. Okay. So now we're doing that. And now what we're going to do is we're going to actually define two constants. So the two constants are going to be constant levels per row, and I'm going to set it equal to 5. The next constant is going to be space between levels, and I'm going to make it equal to 5 as well. So basically what that means is when we show off level 0, it'll be like 0, 0, and then we want 5 spaces between, and we're actually going to be kind of lazy, and we're going to count the spaces. So 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 0, 2. And then if we keep going, right, it'll be like 0, 0, 3, 0, 0, 4, 5, and that's actually it, right? And then we'll go to 0, 0, 5, 0, 0, 6, and that's going to be what we're going to be displaying to the user in terms of the level selection. So how do we actually do that? We have to do a little bit of math, but not too much, I don't think. So I'm going to make this new constant. I'm going to make it x, and I'm going to make it, oops, there we go. So we're going to use max x, and it's the same kind of like it's the exact same logic as this, except we're basing it off of the number of levels per row, which is going to be 5, but minus 1 because it's 0 indexed, right? And so this is the width, this is this, and then we're going to multiply by the width. So this is space between levels, simple enough. And then we're just going to divide by 2 for that whole thing. So that's our min x. So that's where our levels start from when we're actually going to display them on the screen. And so we set it equal to min x, this x value, and then we do y plus equals 2, so we slide down 2 rows. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this int color, right? And now we're actually going to start showing off. So the first thing to do is figure out where we actually are, right? So if I mod levels per row equals 0, so that means we've gotten to 5 in this case. We're going to reset. So we're going to push x back over to the left, and then we're going to do plus plus y, and then go down 1 row. Else, we'll do x plus equals space between levels. So that means we're going to push over 5. Right, so that's the first thing. The next thing to figure out, now that we have like a position of where we're going to be printing everything out on the screen, we need to figure out what color we should be selecting, right? So in this case, we're going to be in a selected index, right? We have to figure out if that level is unlocked for the player or not. So that's pretty easy. We can do int x. Actually, let me do like const bool level unlocked equals I less than max level beaten. Yeah, there we go. So now we do this, and then we say color is equal to max level beaten, right? And it's going to be two things if it's, just level unlocked. Level unlocked. If it's unlocked, then in this case we'll do unlocked highlighted, else we'll do locked highlighted. Else, right? This is also the exact same kind of logic. If level unlocked, same thing. We'll do just unlocked regular, else we'll do locked regular. Pretty easy. And next thing to do is actually print. And because we haven't done mv_print_w, I'm just going to do it for here just so we can take a look at it. So instead of doing move and then print w, we just do it all in one. So we do y and x, which we already calculated. And then we want the two numbers right here in our path. So %c is one character, %c is another thing. We could play around with c substrings, but to me that's just a little bit much. Oops, 8. I. Okay. So the reason why we're doing two magic numbers is we have levels xx.txt, xx in pos 7, 8. So one potential problem with this, right, is if we make more than 100 levels, all of a sudden this whole naming scheme doesn't work. So we could make it a little bit bigger, but I have no intention of making more than 99 levels. more than 99 levels. So I personally am totally comfortable with this right now. So if we make it, maybe we did it first try, that'd be pretty cool. And you can see we did not do it first try, but we tried. So, and you can see 0, 0, you can see I also probably did this reversed. So yeah, I 100% did it. So let's fix that first, and then we'll come back to, oh, the other problem is I didn't actually get rid of this plus plus y. So I may actually have it now. All right, so this is working okay. What isn't working though are our keys. So we're gonna go up into this switch statement right here, and we're actually gonna redo the logic. And I'm gonna address the should it wrap. I'm also gonna address all this. So we can just delete this, and I'm actually just gonna delete it all. So we're gonna have these, and now we can do case up keys, right? And so in the case of up keys, we have to update our selected index. I'm gonna use std max, and the maximum is gonna be 0, and that's because we're gonna do selected index minus levels per row. So the reason why we're doing that is if you can picture like 0, 1, 0, 2, and then we'll just picture that. I think that's fine. 0, 5, imagine we were using 3, right? And we hit the up key, we want 0, 3 to go to 0, 0, 0, 4 to go to 0, 1, and 0, 2 to go to 0, 5. So that's why we're doing that one. The next one is the case down keys. So in this case, we're going 0, 2 to 0, 5, for example. So we're gonna do selected index is equal to std : min. And then what we do here is we're gonna have two different values. So let me do this, put this in a new line, and then we'll do a static cast to an integer. And we need to do a static cast because we're gonna call levels.size. This is the number of levels, and this returns a size t. And we need an integer. So we're going to do -1, that integer, because it could go down to -1. And with a levels.size, we just can't do that. Well, that was a bad explanation. Let's try that again. This is expecting, if I give it an std size underscore t -1, that's going to be a size t. And then this next one is going to be of type integer, because I'm going to do selected index plus levels per row, and it's not going to know should I be returning a size t or an integer. So we tell it by casting this to a integer. There we go. Okay, cool. I also wasn't breaking. Big no-no. So this one is going to take us down. This one is going to take us up. Totally, hopefully makes sense. Next one is case left keys. Let me go back, and then we do selected index is equal, so we're using max again, where the max is 0, index -1. And that's because we're going this way, this way, this way, and when we get here, we stop. So let's break that. And then we need the case right keys. And this will also handle wrapping naturally, where we just go to this one. So we don't need that, and then we need that. So, and then in this case, we're again going to have to use that kind of like a static cast thing again. So this is going to take us this way, and when we get here, we'll naturally go this way. So I'm going to get rid of those now. And now let's see if we can actually interact with it. Okay, so I have an error where basically, where was it? 46, so right here, where I misspelled. So let's see. So everything's working, and if I press up, it will take me to 0, and if I press down, it will take me to 0 too. But we should be a little bit better. So let's just see how this works. If we have like, let's say like 11 or 10 levels, just for simplicity's sake. Oops. Cool. So let's close these. So now if I make it, I didn't need to make it, oops. And you can see everything's actually working. And I realize what's kind of cool is if I do like this, and I just like, let's delete it. And then I do R. Will it work? No, it does not. Oh, because I actually didn't do hot reloading. Would have been cool if I did that though. Okay. Anyways, this is kind of like the final thing where basically if we press O1, we'll still be able to go into it. And I think that's actually worth doing real quick. So let's just leave it like that. Let me exit and let's do one last thing. So we're going to go to our select keys, right? And all we're going to do is we're going to add a little check where basically if the selected index is greater than the max level beaten, right? We're just not going to allow the user to load that level. So now if we make it, I can't go to this level, I can't go to this level, I'm pressing space and enter. But if I go to this level, I can play it. Now, in the next video, the goal is going to be to make it so this actually highlights. And there's one other thing I've been thinking about, but I kind of don't want to say I'm going to do it unless I end up doing it. So that's going to be it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope it was fun. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.